Everybody, it's Soren Baker here on Unique Access. Today, make sure to like, subscribe, share to our channel so we can keep bringing you guys some great interviews. Today, we have the honor and the privilege of being joined by the legendary Sadat X. Thank you for coming.
Peace, peace. What's the deal, party people? It's the great X, no question.
Yes, man. It's an honor having you on the show, man. Really appreciate you coming through.
No problem.
You know, we got a lot to talk about today, so we're going to get right into it. You know, something that I was always curious was with Concerto and X minor on Brand Nubian One for All, that you were Derek X before you switched to Sadat X. So
no doubt.
I was wondering, why did you guys leave Derek X on there and not go back and change it?
Well, by the time, you know, I did change it, we had already finished with the record, so it was really no time for me to really change it. So I just had to run with it from there. But that just basically came because, you know, I was getting more in depth and in tune with the teachings that I was getting from the 5% Nation, and I wanted to take a name that was benefiting of that.
So, you know, that song, Concerto in X minor, of course, came out in 1990, and on the song you talk about the atrocities that happened with like Huey Newton and Yusef Hawkins and things, and now we're in 2020. So when you were writing that was going on. Yusef Hawkins was timely, and then of course Huey Newton was historical. But why? What's your thought as to why these same things are still happening in America today?
I mean, well, basically, you know, unfortunately, that's what America's been built on, man. That's the American way, man, from the beginning of time, man. Like it's always been hostility and violence and associated with America from the beginning when the land was taken from the Indian. Far as the black people are, you know, I'm not surprised that it's still going on, but I guess I am surprised that it's still going on, even with people taping it. Like it's like now the attitude, some of the attitudes when I see this happen, it's like it's no regard for the camera. Like whatever it is whatever it is.
Yeah, because I remember the first big one that came out, at least in my opinion, was Rodney King, and people were like shocked that it was on camera, even though so many artists in the rap world especially have been talking about it for years at that point.
Yeah.
But it didn't, the audacity is shocking of what happens.
Yeah, man. And it's like, you know, you see one person do it and you would think, well, damn, you know, I wouldn't want to get caught on camera doing that. And then you see somebody else doing some shit and it's like it's got no regard now, you know?
Right. Okay. And then also on that song, beyond the political element of it, you also rap a lot faster than your signature sound and style that you got known for. So why on Concerto in X minor did you rap a lot faster than kind of what you're known for?
Well, basically that's how Alamo looped the beat and put it at that speed, man. And it was like, you know, that was like the beginning of us being in the studio and doing stuff too. So, you know, we didn't know it could really be slowed down like that. Like he looped it up and it was fast, and I just rhymed fast on it. Plus, you know, a lot of our stuff was on the album was slower, so I wanted that to be a little bit more up-tempo.
Speaking of slow down was one of the biggest, if not the biggest songs on there. What do you think made that song resonate with so many people?
I think what made it resonate with so many people is because, you know, at the time we put it out, like most times you get somebody that samples a song that's from way in the past. When we sampled that song, it was out then. I just happened to see it on TV, Edie Brickell, and went and bought the 45 record and we looped it up where, you know, by the time we finished, you know, that song was out. It was like those two were basically out and a lot of people had heard that rhythm, you know, you know, a lot of people heard it, you know, and it stuck.
And then on the business side of things, did her being on Elektra help or affect you guys at all?
Well, you know, it definitely helped us, you know, and you know, in order for us to use it, she had to hear it and she had to clear it. And, you know, she obviously liked it because she went ahead and cleared it for us. You know, she gave us the path to keep it going. She could have said no, and we would have never heard that song.
And did you guys actually talk to her, or was it all done through
Yeah, it was really done through the label. I mean, we definitely sent a message of gratitude towards her, but we never actually really got to speak to her in person, no.
Okay, gotcha. And then during the height of the One for All album, I went to see Brand Nubian at Bowie State University. I'm from Maryland, and you guys were performing with Leaders of the New School and Stinky Dink at Bowie State. But I didn't understand or realize that Puba had left the group. But because everybody in the crowd during the show, after the show, were kind of talking amongst each other, like, "Where's Puba? What happened to Puba?"
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, well, a lot of people don't understand this. Brand Nubian wasn't one of those stories where, you know, y'all was together for 10 years and went through everywhere to get a deal. Like, basically, you know, we knew each other coming up. Puba, you know, he was the one who had the inroads, being that he was out earlier. But we was all basically solo artists, you know. Up until that record came out, we were solo artists, you know, like up until about 5-6 months before the album came out, we were solo artists. So, you know, basically we were still, we came together as a group, you know, and certain things clashed, but we was basically solo artists from the beginning.
right. And then with In God We Trust, on the music side in particular, what was it like for you and Jamal, especially to really take over or focus more on the beat side of things?
Well, I mean, we bought some equipment, and you know, we figured who best to tell the story of us but ourselves, and you know, that's why I guess the album came out like that, because we kind of catered the songs to the beat, and we made the beat, so we knew what was happening and what to do with it.
At the same time, the Diamond D, of course, Punks Jump Up to Get Beat Down was the lead single and probably the biggest single, I would say, from that project. So what was it about what Diamond did sonically that made it work for you guys so well?
Well, I mean, you know, we had 3 versions of the song. He did all 3. All 3 was hot, you know, but the one that we used and the one that became more famous is the one with the commercial feel to it. And, you know, that was in the ear of Leo Cohen, Def Jam Management. You know, he felt we should go with that it would be more commercial, that it would be more, being that the lyrics was rugged, the beat was a little more commercial, where he figured it could get through the radio, and it did. And that was, you know, just the version we stuck with as far as the commercial side of it.
Right. And were you, you know, now that there's such all the different movements and different things as far as what people can say, what they should say, shouldn't say, back then, especially with Wake Up and even this song, were you surprised that you got some or the play and exposure that you did get, or not?
Not really, man. I figured that it would be likable, and you know, a lot of time we especially back then, we said a lot of coded things, so you really had to decipher it or know what we was talking about to understand some of the stuff that we actually were saying. So we figured that it would, you know, I knew certain the part I said that would probably get stopped at some point, and it did. We had to change it, but you know, we figured it was going to do what it did.
And it did. It led to Everything Is Everything. So with that one, Step Into the Cypher in particular, you got co-production credit as well as several other songs on the album. But what did you do differently or more so to where you started getting co-production credit specifically?
Well, I just was basically, you know, I helped out with physically, you know, looping some of the joints. I was never really the producer like that, but you know, every now and then I would step in and try to do what I could do, you know, and that's just basically what happened on that.
And for Jamal in particular, I think doesn't get a lot of credit or recognition for his production, and then of course doing stuff with Dead Prez. So why do you think Lord Jamal isn't viewed more on the production and the beat making creative side of things?
Now that I really don't know, man. I mean, I guess, you know, man, like certain things you become recognized for. I guess he didn't, but he does deserve more credit as far as the beat making goes, and you know, did a lot of stuff for us, Dead Prez. But you know, sometimes it just slipped through the cracks with people.
Because they had some, you know, some phenomenal beats.
Definitely.
So with as we get to your solo stuff with Wild Cowboys, I was initially I didn't understand what that was referring to, and a little bit later on when I did, I was surprised because, like with the Brand Nubian material, as time went on, it got more street and the lyrics got rougher and stuff. So with Wild Cowboys, why was that like in a continuation and explaining more of that part of your life?
Well, basically, that was the Bronx side. And as far as the guards going with the Brand Nubian, I mean, the guards have always been dealt with a element of streetism throughout history. The A-Team, a notorious crew out of Queens, the A-Team, that was the Allah team. And they was made up of guards. And they got a lot of money, you know, I guess doing whatever they was doing, which a lot of people would probably, you know, discredit. New York Freddie, one of the leading, you know, drug figures in the 70s. He was God body. So there was always an element of street. Remember, the 5% Nation was the part of the Muslims that even Malcolm couldn't reach. They was the part that was in the street smoking weed, hustling and gambling. That was the element that Malcolm couldn't reach. That's why the father Allah, Clarence Sturgeon X. Smith, he had to go into the street as the street and talk to brothers. Remember, the Muslims, they ain't want drinking and smoking. The guards drink and smoke. The guards was gambling. They was hustling, but they was still righteous people, and they still needed, you know, they had to still be included in this mix, definitely.
What made the different elements of the Nation of Islam, the 5%, the Guys in the Earths, how did you gravitate toward different ones at different times in your life, or how and why?
Just different periods of time, man. As you go through life, you'll go through different stages. I mean, you go through a stage when you might be hustling for a while. Then you go to a stage when you don't want to do that and you become righteous and you're like, all right, I'm going to try to get my life together. And then you might go back to hustling. It was just different periods of time. When I was living in the Bronx for Wild Cowboys. You know, I'm from the Bronx. My family's in the Bronx. Everybody mostly on the album is in the Bronx, so it's going to contain Bronx elements and shit, definitely.
Okay. And then on the Wild Cowboys title track, you were talking about the only prayer you've seen is the library.
So, yeah. Like a lot of people thought Wild Cowboys, I guess because of the cover, was a Western type of concept. It was far from the fathers you ever want to see. Wild Cowboys was a group of individuals that was living up in Washington Heights. I've lived in Washington Heights, met several of those individuals. That was just a notorious crew back in the days.
Yeah. Okay. And then off of that, we go to Foundation, which I think is a very underappreciated and overlooked album. And I think it's phenomenal and way ahead of its time in a lot of ways, sonically and lyrically as well. But for you guys, that was, you know, you had been on Elektra and then Loud and then going to Arista for the Foundation album. What difference did you notice with Arista compared to the other labels you've been on?
Well, Arista was a good label, Clive Davis, you know, and everything. And the Foundation was a great album. I just think that a lot of it got caught up in the time. You know, when we did the Foundation, it was one set of people in place, you know, but by the time we had finished and actually got it out and do a video or two, you know, the label switched. Clive wasn't like the ahead anymore. I think it was one of those people, not Babyface, but one of them people came in and took over Arista, and it was a whole turnover of staff. So I think that album kind of got caught in that.
Oh, you talking about L.A. Reid, probably?
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because he definitely wanted to focus on hits as opposed to overall music.
Yeah, exactly. He wasn't a hip hop man like that anyway. Mm-hmm.
Right. And that album, of course, has a lot of work with Buck Wild and Lord Finesse as well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So at that point in your career and with Brand Nubian, how did working with them fit into, you know, your evolution as an artist, would you say?
Well, I had always worked with them. I mean, if you work with Diamond and you were in the studio enough with them, some, you know, Buck might come through, or Finesse might come through, or Showbiz. So I had already worked with him. You know, it was just a matter of Brand Nubian working. Puba did a lot of stuff with Ness. You know, Buck, by that time, Buck was up and coming then. So, you know, it was just a natural progression. If you work with Diamond on Showbiz, then you work with Finesse and Buck. You know, being at times, they might all be in the studio. It might not all be their track, but they there. Mm-hmm.
Right. And so in the next couple of years, then there's like a real explosion for you of solo material, starting probably in around 2005-ish. So what happened to where you were like, going from not putting out as much to really pretty steadily putting out material every year?
Well, I wasn't on no major label no more, so I didn't have to worry about getting cleared, waiting to get cleared. That was the big boom of a lot of independent labels was coming out, and I had the opportunity. You know what I'm saying? I was in the right place at the right time, and it was just, you know, I had the opportunity to do it, and I did it. Mm-hmm.
And one of those projects, the Black October, I really liked Eternally Yours in particular, that record. So that one, it kind of had a lot of introspection on it in particular. So what do you find differently, creatively, brings out that element of you as a writer?
Just going through life experiences, man. I'm able to transcribe it. A lot of people are not able to transcribe it like that. The way it happens for me, I guess I have the gift of being able to, you know, make people visualize what I'm saying. And it's just regular stuff that 99% of the world is regular people. You got an element maybe of a 1%, 2% who are able to be so-called superstars or live a certain way. But most of the world is made up of working people, and you know, that's what basically it is. It's able to reach people who go to work, who come home, who have a beer. You know what I'm saying? 9 to 5 people, as well as people, you know, superstars or whoever hang out. But it's for the common man.
Okay. And then with the brand new Nubian, I'd always really liked your collaboration with Craig G on the lyrics.
Yeah.
And that's something that I wanted to ask you about in the sense of you have a very particular style. So why do you think maybe you're not looked at more when the elites are discussed?
Because, you know, it's if you look at a lot of the elites, they all like have the same rhyme pattern or the rhyme style, and it's more comprehensible. You know, they're willing to go with what basically was more popular at the time. You know what I'm saying? I go with me. I go on the gut. I got to go with, like, I can't rhyme on the beat just because somebody say, yo, this is popular. I got to actually feel the beat. You understand what I'm saying? And a lot of, you know, I guess the elite are able to, you know, do that with the masses. Plus, they're probably easier to follow, you know, as far as hearing the lyrics, and, you know, it's a lot simpler patterns to also follow.
So how and why did you develop the styles that you have?
It just came. It was nowhere. It's not like I sought out to develop it. Basically, it's just how it came out. I think a lot of times it's how I think. My thinking comes, especially when I'm rhyming in verse, and I got to write it as verse. You understand? Like it doesn't come in one long flowing thing. Like when I get thoughts, and especially for rhymes, it's like jagged pieces shooting here, shooting there, saying this, saying that. And that's the way. And a lot of times I'll be trying to get it out and write it so fast so I don't lose it. That's how it comes out a lot of times. A lot of times you know, when I'm reading, especially if I didn't have on my glasses, you know, I might have meant to say a whole long piece, but I couldn't see it. And I had to say the pieces that I saw. And a lot of times that's how it came out.
And do you still write with pen and pad?
Yeah, all the time. I got various notebooks all over the house. Mm-hmm. All the time.
Wow. Okay. And then I know you have the new project with Agala.
Yeah.
So the Gods Have Arrived. So that one I think has a lot of great material on it too, with Praise the Lords, with Greg Nice in particular. Mm-hmm. That one recently came out, and you know, that refers to his lyrics from Dwick, of course.
Yeah.
But for you, what type of energy do you notice when you do a song with Greg Nice that he brings?
Oh, well, Greg is Greg. Like, I know Greg. Greg is a good friend. So I already know Greg. I know what he's gonna do, and you know, I know how he moves. I know his ambiance, and it was good. Same with Aguilar. Like, I came up with Aguilar. You know what I'm saying? I've known Aguilar since I lived in Harlem, and you know, on this album. If you'll notice, these songs had a lot of topics on it, and like I really wanted to take my time and draw some meaning into these songs. As I said on this one, you know, I wasn't gonna be rhyming just to be rhyming. I wanted this to each verse on something to tell a story of what's going on.
Yeah, it's very topic driven, and you even reference, back when he was known as Adolf. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, so what made you guys connect from way back in the day? Do you think?
Well, I had known Aguilar. He always lived in close proximity when I was in Harlem. He was in Harlem at the time in the Bronx. And, I always ran into him in certain places. We had collabed in the past on certain things. And I always liked his beats, you know what I'm saying? So, we had been talking about it for a while, but like during this spring, and it didn't take us long, maybe 2 months to get it together. We said we're going to get this together. We're going to make something topical, for the times, you know what I'm saying? Because, I wanted to, I wanted to make something during these times that meant something, because like at these times right now, nobody's really flying around doing shows. There's not a lot of glitz and glamour going on right now. Basically, everybody's in the crib reflecting, trying to survive, trying to think of something positive to get through. And that's what I wanted to reflect on this album. Like, you ain't hear me talk about popping no bottles and doing none of that, because it wasn't none of that. I'm in the crib every day. I'm wearing a mask. I'm running around washing my hands a million times a day, trying to stay alive.
Right. So then what's the meaning behind the title, The Gods Have Arrived?
That mean that we back, man. We've arrived, man. The gods have arrived. You know what I'm saying? They say it's time for, when in the time of needs, it was going to be a savior to come. Well, hopefully this record right here will reflect and be a savior for somebody. You know what I'm saying? If like we were saying, if we waiting for Jesus, now would be a good time for him to arrive. But if he ain't going to do that, we'll hold it down for some of our people in the meantime.
Gotcha. And one of my favorites on there is the Universal Law. And
Yeah.
I really liked on there how you were talking about potentially different jobs you could have had with being a dentist.
Yeah. And I could have been a dentist, you know what I'm saying? I could have been a fireman. I passed the fireman test for Neuroshell. So, it's like, life takes strange turns. I mean, what if I would have been a fireman right now? I would have probably been retiring around now. You understand? With a pension and everything, you know what I'm saying? Or if I'd have, been a dentist, I might have had 3 or 4 practices, but I'm satisfied with what I got, the riches of the mind. And, I'm comfortable, you know what I'm saying? I have a home, I'm healthy. I got a new baby daughter coming, which is a late blessing for me in my life. And, I feel good.
Well, congratulations on your daughter.
Thank you.
That's a beautiful thing, man. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. I got one daughter, and now 27, and I'm having another one 27 years apart. It's an odd thing, but it's a great thing, man. It's like it's like a blessing for me, man. I'm totally overjoyed at that.
It's interesting too when we think about our lives and the different choices we make that impact things, because even you also mentioned on the Universal Law being an electrician apprentice too.
Yeah.
So you had these are all with firemen, dentist, electrician apprentice, and rapper. They were so different, so many different things. So what was it about you as a young adult or even as a kid that made you gravitate to such different things, do you think?
Because I had I was fortunate to come up in a 2-parent household. You understand? A family that came from the projects to home owning. You understand what I'm saying? That was educated. Both my parents went to college and graduated. And they always taught me a strong work ethic. If you want to get something and we can't get it, then you get out there and get it yourself. You got to work. And, I've worked while rapping. I'm working now. I work in a hospital now. So, that's always been instilled with me. And I've always been under the philosophy that you should have multiple streams of income. You understand? I don't just try to rely on one thing. I sell the wine, I sell merchandise, I work in a hospital, I rap. You know what I'm saying? So, that also, and those things contribute to my rhyming, because I see different things. You understand? I see the effects of people coming in and out of a hospital. You understand what I'm saying? So I can talk about those things, because that's stuff that regular people do.
So what do you do at the hospital?
I transport patients. So I take patients to different floors. I take them from surgery to surgery. You know what I'm saying? I do public relations there. I'm in the front desk sometimes at the hospital. So I float around, man. I'm a people person. So they got me in a position where I can talk to the people.
That's a beautiful thing, man.
Mm-hmm.
So another track that I really like on The Gods Have Arrived was the Lean On, especially for the beat. So that's probably my favorite beat on the project. What do you think of that beat and
Which one was that one?
the Lean On?
Oh, the lean. Yeah. That was just, I don't know, man. Like something, for some reason, that's what Ad came up with, man. And it was like, you know, I wanted to incorporate some things into it, man. I wanted to play on words, play on the lean, play on the drink lean, you know, like just have fun with it, man. Like I think, man, a lot of the element of rap, man, you know, has been lost with just not having fun, man. I look at a lot of rappers, man, and it don't look like they have too much fun, man. Like the guy Logic, you know, he's retiring the other day and he's crying and this and that. And it's like, but damn, man, like I don't never want rap to be like that for me, man. Like, you know, and he's like, yo, every time he put out an album, people, you know, might not like, man, I'm so battle shielded against stuff like that, man. Like I've heard like stuff that people said sometimes they've hated my stuff. And, you know, that's never made me waver or anything because I've always done it for me. If I loved it, I do it. You know, sometimes I make songs that, you know, it don't hit, but I liked it, you know what I'm saying? And that's good enough for me, man. I would never want to have to be forced to retire and then do it on such, like, I feel bad for him to have to do it like that, man. Like, it's like, damn, man, like, it seemed like rap sucked the love out of him. Like, he, at the end, it wasn't no love with him in rap, and I feel bad for him because of that.
Yeah, I mean, everybody got into rap by volunteering.
Yeah, exactly, man. And it's like, it's like it was a bad labor of love for him. I'm like, damn, man, like, if it's going to be that way for you, man, you know, maybe you should retire. I'd rather see you retire and, you know, take, like these young boys take too many pills or do something crazy, man. But I hate to see it get to that situation for the man.
Yeah, because I think it's interesting that, and this ties into something you say on Today's Math, one of the other songs I like on The Gods Have Arrived, because the irony of it is in rap, I've noticed, and this is throughout time, the artists that say something, that have something to say, whether you agree or don't like it or whatever, they tend to be the most popular and the ones that last.
Yeah, definitely.
It's kind of a big hidden secret, but like, you know, even if we look at, regardless of where you're from, because KRS-One is one of them, Scarface is another one, Ice Cube is another one, Outkast is another one.
Definitely.
It doesn't matter your era or your region. Like,
nope.
And
if you got something to say, man, like people will gravitate to you. And it's like, I mean, for instance, like somebody like KRS-One, I've seen KRS-One, like, all right, for instance, I've seen KRS-One when we was in Europe, sometimes do a lot of shows in Europe. In Europe, you know, you're going to be catered to a certain crowd. It's a lot of young. I mean, see, that's the good thing about Europe. The crowds mix sometimes. Because what they do in Europe is a lot of time is if they were a fan of you, if I was a KRS-One fan, I might bring my kids to the show with me and let them experience that. And a lot of times in Europe, it's sometimes more of a white crowd, and that's cool too because they know when they get down with the lyrics. But then I remember one time when we came back, and this was recently, you know, KRS-One did a show in Washington D.C. where it was mostly black people, and I forgot how Chris can flip stuff. Now I forgot that, like shit, like Chris can get down with the best of them, and I knew that, but it took me to see him rock for both crowds to be like, yo, now that's the true identity of an artist that's able to cater to everything, that's able to get on stage and do it. That's what I'm looking for in an artist.
Yeah, and look, he came out in the mid-'80s, really.
Yeah.
Still able to deliver phenomenal stuff, which
definitely still, and it's made his lane, and it's good with it. You know, like that's why I tell a lot of the older rappers, like, make your lane. There's still people that's your age and better that want to hear it. And if you pick up new fans along the way, that's even the gravy. But like, what I don't like is when a lot of the older artists try to do the young boy music. I'll be like, yeah, you're not gonna be able to do that. That's their thing. You know what I'm saying? And you know, like a lot of people always ask me, why don't you try to do this? No, man, because that's not me. If I don't feel right doing it, it's not gonna come out right. You understand what I'm saying? I'm like, a lot of the young boy stuff is the young boy stuff. It's their era. A lot of the older cats is like, You know, it's no classics being made by the young kids. And I mean, you know, granted, I may feel that way, but you can't tell my daughter and my nephew that the song they listen to, this guy and that guy, is not a classic song. I mean, the volume of these artists that's coming out is overwhelming at times, and you know, some of the content, I guess, is a little underwhelming. But there are certain artists that's coming out with these young boys that I see do have kind of a staying power.
Well, it's funny you say that, because back when Brand Nubian was first emerging compared to now, there was maybe, just to use round numbers, 100 artists versus today there's 1,000. So it's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
That's the thing I tell kids though. When I came out, man, it was like, you know, we didn't have a home setup or a home computer to make beats and record myself and do a video to create my own persona in the house. If you said something on the record, or you said you had something or could do something, somebody in the street might run up on you and ask you to do it or show it to you. You know what I'm saying? You have to be, you know, authentic, or like you go somewhere and somebody actually turn off your mic mid-performance, like, yo, turn his mic off and tell you, yo, homeboy, don't ever come here and touch the mic again. Well, you know, go ahead, do what you do, but not here. You don't touch the mic here. It was a lot more pressure, man. We used to go to the studio, and you know, it was times I went with Puba even before Brand Nubian to lay something where it'd be 1,000 people in the studio, and if you couldn't lay it down, then you'd have to get out the booth. I've seen him tell people, look, man, you got one more time for this, and you get out the booth. You can't get it, come on out. Come on out. So, you know, if it's anything that Puba told me, it was always be ready, man, be ready. And that's what I say.
Like they say, man, stay ready, you don't have to get ready.
And there you go. That right there.
So on today's Math, the lyric I was trying to begin to was that you want to say something that's real. And, you know, I think that that's important too, because obviously rap from the beginning of record with Rapper's Delight, there was a lot of fantasy even in that song, but the actual, you know, actual facts, reality, different things like that, that's what registers with people and means something in a lot of ways too. It's an escape to reality and from reality.
Yeah.
And you also talk about not making music for the dance floor too. So,
yeah, like a lot of my stuff might not be for the dance floor, and that's cool. You understand? I've made stuff that people dance to, but if you don't dance to it, you know, because, you know, like a lot of my stuff right now, man, is just geared towards teaching, man. For me, this is not a time for me to be dancing. You know, I don't really dance. I'm not like that greatest dancer anyway. But, you know, for those that do make those songs, I just say, man, when you're doing a record, man, it should be well-rounded, man. You should have, there's always songs that teach you how to party and have a good time, but it should be something that teach you how to do something too. See, like my thing with a lot of these artist songs now is, you know, they teach you, a lot of their songs, they teach you how to dance, and they'll teach you how to, you know, do some stupid shit, how to be high all the time and this and that, but they don't teach you how to live. They're not telling you, well, look, man, like, if you got to go pay this rent, how you going to do that? You know, where I work at, man, these kids, man, are so, like, they just so overwhelmed that they don't know this rap thing. Like, my power's getting ready to go low, but I'm going to get this out. Like, it's a kid at my job, like, he believes this rap thing. Like, he's like, yo, you don't got a Lamborghini, or like, yo, you never shot nobody, or yo, why you don't be in the videos with money and with jewelry? And I have to break it down to him. I'd be like, look, man, a lot of times in the videos, the money's fake, the jewelry is rented. I'd be like, listen, if you got a car and it's not in your name, it's not yours. If you have a house and it's not in your name, it's not yours. And I told him, I said, believe me. I said, this rap thing, there's about 30 people that's in the rap bubble. That I mean, like, you got Jay-Z in the rap bubble. Maybe Kanye is in the rap. He's in the rap bubble. You know, Eminem, like artists like that. The Migos, they're in the rap bubble. Drake. But then you got thousands more that's on the outside trying to get in. You understand? And it's like, yo, man, I try to tell him, man, this period right now, I said, a lot of your favorite rappers that you think is doing good is at home counting the piggy bank right now. I said, trust and believe. I said, the bills starting to pile up. I said, trust and believe. You don't see it because you're not going to see it. But I'd be like, believe me, you know people that go through struggles a lot of these people that you think ain't going through struggles are struggling right now.
Yeah. And one other thing real quick before you go, with the Praise the Lords, because we start talking about other stuff, I thought it was real interesting about you talking about your religious evolution with the, you know, your Easter suit and then learning different things and being exposed to different things. So
Yeah.
For those that haven't heard it, or even for those to get a better explanation, like, how would you say and why did your religious views evolve and change often and dramatically?
Well,
I
it
lost
changed. Hold on. It changed for me, man, is because, you know, a lot of the religion that I grew up on, family religion, I respected and everything, but, you know, I couldn't grasp it a lot of times. Like, it was always, I gotta have faith. I gotta have faith. Whereas the 5% Nation taught me a lot of time, listen, man, if you want your Christmas, go make it. If you want your heaven, why can't I have my heaven on earth? Why do I gotta die to go to heaven? And ain't nobody told me, ain't nobody came back, and nobody's come back and told me what heaven was like. You understand? Like, unless somebody was gonna come back down here to the earth and be like, yo, heaven is like this. Yo, kill yourself now and come on up. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I've always, you know, wanted mine now. And that's what the gods taught me, like, yo, man, you can. And they also told me you can do anything. You know what I'm saying? I felt a lot of time in the church, it was limited. I mean, why did the preacher always have to have, especially in a lot of the black church, why does the preacher need a plane? Or why does he have to have the biggest house? Or how about him have a modest house and split it up and maybe build 5 houses for 5 other people? Why does he have to have the biggest house and the most money? Why are you giving up your salary, part of your salary, to the church? And what are they doing with it? You know what I'm saying? What can they show me is done? And, you know, that's where a lot of my changing came. You know, I respect it, though. You know, my family, a lot of my family is involved with the church, and I respect it, but it just wasn't for me.
Well, there it is. Well, man, we appreciate it, Sadat X. Thanks for coming through to Unique Access. I know you got stuff to do, but hopefully we'll get to chop it up with you again soon, man. Really appreciate you.
Peace, brother. There it is.